Now, children are being failed by those whose job it is to protect them. That's the damning verdict of the Children's Commissioner for England in the wake of findings that thousands have been strip-searched without the proper safeguards.
Almost 3,000 of them underwent the practice with no appropriate adult present, with the youngest just 8 years old. Joining us now, former Met Superintendent and the first chair of the National Black Police Association. We say good morning to Leroy Logan. Right, Leroy.
Morning.
Leroy, what's your reaction to this news about so many children being strip-searched without the appropriate adult in the room?
Well, it carries on from the Child Q case of 2001 and the review that was very hard-hitting against the Met in 2022. So, you know, the case is quite clear that they're not treating young people in a safeguarding manner. Schools especially should be the safest place for young people, and they've been searched, and in the case of Child Q, strip-searched in the most vile of ways, and all over reasonable grounds for smelling of weed. And reasonable grounds, smelling of weed is not reasonable grounds. And you're starting to see that with these wider strip searches. Reasonable grounds have been flouted, no appropriate adults, as you say. And, of course, it's really showing another systemic failure that even the case report has highlighted. And so it's not a shock. It's just following on a cascade of hard-hitting reports that shows that the police service, in particular the Met, who does the lion's share of strip searches for youngsters, is not fit for purpose, and they've got to get a grip of this.
Yeah, Rachel D'Souza, the Children's Commissioner, said that when she's publishing the report today into this, said that the figures are keeping her awake at night. She said she found it disturbing, that in some cases children were being strip-searched in cars, very often by members of staff of the opposite gender, a child as young as 8. And as you point out, this Child Q, she said all of this report has been triggered by the bravery of a child who was asked to remove her sanitary towel and all the rest of it, not through whistleblowing within the police service.
Well, I've got a question what's happening with the supervisors, because either they're just stuck in their offices and they're just rubber stamping what's being put before them, or they should be getting out, supervising officers who are supposed to be conducting these searches and finding out what is going on. Because when I was a supervisor, I'll go out with my team, find out who are the good cops, who are doing the right things. Hopefully the bad cops are a minimum and we can develop them or root them out. It just seems that these numbers show is like a cultural thing. And this is the issue about the culture of the police service. It seems to be a lot more toxic. It's a lot more gung-ho, enforcement-based.
Yeah, but wait a minute. We're talking about bad cops here. What about bad kids? What happens to them? That business, you say that because you smell of weed, that's not
reasonable
an
grounds.
excuse to search. Why not?
Because it's not. Because, I mean, it has been flouted for so long. I mean, I remember one of my constables said to me one time, "Oh, yeah, I smelt weed when I was driving along a car and it was raining." How can you smell weed when, if you don't use it properly, you will, again, it's a control measure to say, listen, you need to carry out stop and search with reasonable grounds, intelligence-led, and not on stereotypes or the age of that person, their ethnicity, lifestyle, whatever. And don't disrespect people. Treat them with dignity. Even if they're the toughest and most, bad people, been to the school of hard knocks, you still treat them with respect and dignity.